Hey guys, Chris Elliott over at Remax Action Real Estate with your October 2020 housing market update. So very excited to be bringing this to you guys. On a national level, the story continues to be that we are at very much a shortage of inventory. Realtor.com's chief economist recently put out statistics that nationwide inventory is down 38% from last year. 38% less homes on the market on a national scale than there were this time last year. I saw a statistic recently that the state of Virginia is actually down 44%. So very much a hot market due to the shortage of inventory. That lack of inventory and the high demand from buyers is continuing to push prices up. As you guys will see in the graphic, pretty much every data source, reliable data source, NAR, CoreLogic, Realtor.com, Zillow, they all project that home values are going to continue to rise, and most of them are now projecting that we're going to continue to see home appreciation of somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4% into 2021. So very, very interesting. Now, the interesting thing about this is that even with home prices continuing to rise, buyers are in a very good spot. Due to the low mortgage interest rates that we're seeing right now, buyers can actually afford about 30% more than they were able to, or 10% more than they were able to last year. I apologize. So on a median 300,000 price point home, across the country, buyers can actually afford about 30 grand more property than they can at this time last year. So even with home appreciation in the 3 to 5% range of what we've seen over the last year, buyers are able to afford 10% more. Therefore, it's actually about 5% cheaper to buy a home, to own a home this time than it was this time last year. And as you can see in the Housing Affordability Index, this is a somewhat complex index that basically just ranks how affordable it is to own a home. As you can see, the Affordability Index peaked in 2009, 10, and 11 when home prices were severely depressed. But as you can see, we're at a pretty good rate right now, even with home prices rising due to the low mortgage interest rate environment that we're in. And then a little bit of a projection into next year. Very interesting. Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, very respected figure in the world of real estate, is looking at numbers and basically saying that even with everything that's going on this year, coronavirus, the pandemic, the shutdown, all of that, home sales are actually up 1% in 2020, or scheduled to be up 1% in 2020 than they were in 2019. And even more interesting, home sales are projected to increase 8 to 12% next year over and above what they were this year. So next year should be very, very interesting. What does this all mean to you for sellers? I've got 3 points for you. The first one is hurry up. Hurry up. What we're telling all of our clients is, hey, we're in a very, very hot market right now. We're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing prices go up. Traditionally, the Richmond market tends to taper down, tends to slow down as we head into the fall. We've not seen any signs of that yet, but we don't know if that's going to be coming. So what I'm telling my clients is, hey, let's not wait to see what happens. Let's go ahead and get the property on the market when we know the getting's good and we know we're in a good environment. Second point is don't overprice your home. What we're seeing on most all of our listings, I want to say the last 6 listings we've sold, they've all sold above asking price. But part of the strategy of what we do, we don't suggest our clients underprice our property, but we price it at fair market value. And then what ends up happening is buyers fall in love with the property, they see the property, they come out, they take a look at the property, they fall in love with it, and then they end up bidding it up above asking price to very good prices because they are trying to get the property before the next person does. So what some sellers are doing, they're saying, hey, people are going to bid it up. I'm just going to throw this crazy price out there and see if anybody gives it to me. Sometimes it works. More often than not, what happens is that listing grows stale. Buyers and buyers agents reject the price. They say, hey, they're overpriced. They never get anybody through the front door, and then that listing ends up sitting and ultimately selling for a lot less than it could have had they priced it right from the get-go. Third point, adhere to best practices. It is really not a question in this market of whether a home is going to sell. Most everything that's going to the market is selling. The question really becomes is, are we taking full advantage of the market that we're in, and how much are we actually selling for? So yes, you can do terrible photos. You cannot stage your property. You cannot do anything to prepare your home for market, and most likely still sell, but the tragedy is you're not taking advantage of the market. You're not selling for as much as you could have. So those are our tips to sellers. Tips to buyers, man, it's tough out there. You've got to be diligent. So you've got to be willing and able to jump on properties as soon as they come to the market, really not having much time to think about it, very little time to even go out and look at the property. It's just the environment that we're in. Stack terms in the seller's favor. So what we mean by this is gone are the days, unfortunately, where just being the highest price is going to get you the property. We are having to stack layers of favorable terms for the seller, everything from putting limitations on what we're going to ask for in a home inspection, to guaranteeing a certain amount of money if the property doesn't appraise, to giving rent backs to sellers. I mean, you really have to find out what's important to that seller and just stack those terms in their favor to beat out the multiple other offers you're going to be competing against. And then last but not least is waiting could be expensive. I've had some conversations with folks that just say, hey, we're going to wait until the market cools down. We're going to wait until next year. We're going to wait for this. We're going to wait for that. The reality is, with home prices projecting to continue to increase, even if it's a more relaxed environment next year, which nobody is saying that it would be, but even if it was, the price could be 3 to 4% higher. So yeah, you might not be competing against as many people potentially, but the house is going to be more expensive. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that was concise enough for you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any specific questions or concerns we didn't address, feel free to contact me direct. Thank you guys for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next month.